This is Bharat FM.
बजेगा भारत झूमेगा भारत.
ये है भारत FM.
बजेगा भारत झूमेगा भारत.
Good morning, good evening, namaste, namaskar, vanakkam and welcome to Bharat FM. You're watching Connect for a Cause with me, Preeti Balaji. We have been doing a series of episodes for Connect for a Cause on the topic labor trafficking with Eyes Open International advisory board members. And today we have another episode of one of the board members from Eyes Open International. And I'm so happy to introduce you all to Yvan Demosthenes, one of the advisory board members of Eyes Open International. Hello, Mr. Yvan.
Good morning.
Good morning. How are you?
Doing great. Pleasure to be with you this morning.
Thank you. Yvan Demosthenes is the CEO of Hamilton Demo. It's an executive search and placement company that helps Fortune 500 companies with its hiring needs and has a specialty in diversity recruiting. With more than 20 years of experience and that too like 16 years within talent acquisition and recruiting, his career has covered various sales and management roles. So during his career, Mr. Yvan, he had attained several awards from big companies like GE, Career Builder, Monster.com, and many such companies. Yvan is one such energetic and passionate human being to work with, and he's very much down to earth and at the same time, so fun to talk with him. Thanks for being here, Mr. Yvan.
Yes, thanks for such a great introduction, Preeti. I'm looking forward to this.
Thanks. We were supposed to have Mr. Errol D'Souza, the co-founder of Eyes Open International, but today, due to some unforeseen circumstances, he's not able to join with us. But I hope you will see this video later on.
Yes, we'll try to get along without Harold. We'll miss his energy.
Yes, of course, but I hope you can develop his energy today.
Well, I'll do my best.
Yes. So I would before we jump into any questions, I would like to start my show with you telling a story that is about your childhood story on how did you come to USA as an immigrant.
Yeah, so thank you again. I love to share this story because I was born in Haiti, and while I was still a baby, I was about 6-7 months old. My parents moved to New York, where I am right now. I'm based in Cincinnati, but I'm actually visiting visiting family and doing business here in New York for the few days. So I'm here as we speak. So this was in 1970. We entered the United States via New York. And during that time, my father, who is a physician, was practicing and decided that he wanted to move his family to a smaller town, a smaller city. So we moved to Lima, Ohio, of all places.
Okay.
And during that time, grew up. And I'll tell you, there weren't a lot of Haitian people in Lima, Ohio in 1980, right? That's when we moved. So I stuck out like a sore thumb, but I really opened my eyes to diversity or the lack thereof at the time. And as I grew up, just seeing how diversity can make an impact and how people from different places can contribute to not just our local societal group, but also in corporate USA. So when I started getting into the business world, I graduated from University of Cincinnati, did my MBA at Thomas More University, where I am an adjunct professor teaching professional sales. And I've done my leadership training at Harvard. And I've seen all the diversity from people from all walks of life and different backgrounds. And when they come together for projects or to share their abilities to deliver on something, it's an amazing thing. And so with that being said, I entered into the realm of talent acquisition and recruiting. And it was pretty fascinating because at the time when I entered in, we were just coming off Y2K. And a lot of the contacts and the individuals that I was building relationships were just learning how to use email. I mean, that sounds like a crazy thing, but yes, there was a time when there was no email and people were just learning. So I built a lot of trust, and through that trust and growing these relationships, I would be asked by my clients to help them with their diversity strategies and conversations as well. So that's where the umbrella of diversity came into my role as well. So fast forward through that, working with Fortune 500 companies of all sizes, global. It's a long list of who's who. About 4 years ago, my business partner and I, Sean Hamilton, who is an Air Force veteran, decided to embark on our own company. And we just thought the timing was right. And we are a certified veteran-owned company through the Department of Veteran Affairs, which we're very proud of. And we've been having tremendous success. So even with that success, talking diversity, helping companies of all sizes, small, medium, and large, we've been able to make some pretty big impacts on many different levels, things that we didn't even anticipate at the time. We've helped with process improvement, everything from training and development of candidates and current employees, diversity especially, and it's been a wonderful ride up to this point.
Awesome. So coming into as immigrant to a country, and then like starting a company, owning yourself a place here, a big journey, I think, I suppose. Yes,
it's been a great journey because I identify not only as a Haitian, but as a U.S. citizen as well, right? Yes. I've lived here my whole life. You can hear from my accent, I have a Midwestern accent, and right. So I embrace the United States as my country as well. I feel very lucky. You know, I run into others such as Italian Americans, German Americans, Australian Americans, Asian Americans from Vietnam, China. It's a very common thing when you're here for most of your life. You embrace both cultures, both nations as one, and I feel very lucky for that.
That's awesome. Actually, I was about to ask that only, like when you talked about your childhood and growing up here, way back in 80s, it was a different scenario, right? Like talking now, it's quite different. So how long have you come here? Like how important you see that workplace diversity? Being a recruiting company yourself, like how you feel that it's very important to have a workplace diversity when recruiting and as such? Like.
Yes. So that's a great question because I'll share a story with you. When I was younger, living in New York, I had a hard time speaking English. My parents spoke Creole and French. And at the time we had people that were involved in our lives, they call them nannies, and they spoke Spanish, and I could never master a single language. And so the school that I went to, and it wasn't even really a school, it was like a nursery, kindergarten type school. They had informed my parents if they did not start speaking English to me at home, that they were going to ask me to leave their school. Yeah, so from that point on, my parents spoke English to me, and that was the primary language that was spoken in our home from that point on. I should also point out to you that my mother went to college in Jamaica at a British university. So she knew the Queen's English, right? And my father, really smart guy, he knew English as well. So it wasn't difficult for them. But as I grew up, I mastered English, and I don't quite have the mastery of Creole and French that I should. And I can tell you that my family that came years later to the country, they speak several languages very fluently. So to your question, I see that now where a second language is very valued by employers, right? Whereas in the 80s and 90s, maybe they weren't thinking about that so much.
Okay.
Right? They wanted somebody to speak English and be able to communicate within the organization. Now, as we know that English is the world language of business, but it also helps to have diversity in languages, other languages that you speak.
True.
Right? So whether you're from another country or you've embraced and learned a second language or multiple languages, that is something that companies really value and seek out. I'll also share with those listening, if you're able to include that on your resume, put that on there and tell them conversational, fluent in these language, whatever you can. Just don't put can speak a sec. Add a little bit more to that, maybe a few more words to let them know that you can really master the languages and understand the nuance. One last piece of information there. My oldest son, who's 21 years old, works at a logistics company. Okay. And since a young age, he was able to pick up on Spanish very well. And as a matter of fact, he tested out of his first year of college in Spanish. Because he was so good at it. Yeah. And where he works now, they accelerated his advancement through the company because of that. So he's quickly become leadership or potential leadership, where he has lead and assistant manager responsibilities, and his pay increased rapidly as well. Okay. So those even at entry levels for young people is very important.
Okay. So being a diverse company, people look nowadays, the world is so diverse that you should be aware of different cultures and different languages, and the world has started embracing it rather than pushing it away. Right now I see that change. I think so.
Yeah. And since I've grown up, even when I was in grade school and high school, I noticed that when you did projects and teamwork, and the groups that had the band guy, the athlete, the cheerleader, and maybe somebody who is just a bookworm, versus other groups that were very similar, those groups always did better. And that still, there's lots of studies done, even in corporate America. When you have diverse groups and you put them up against other groups that are not as diverse, almost 100% of the times your diverse teams will outperform those teams that do not have the same level of diversity. As a matter of fact, companies that embrace diversity and are considered diverse outperform not only in profit and revenue, but in employee satisfaction. Yeah, as well. And that's something that is a competitive advantage to those organizations, industry to industry. So for obvious reasons, we embrace diversity, and we keep striving to share that with other organizations, because I think here in the United States, we've got a little bit of a lead there, right? So if and when, I'll say when, all organizations can embrace diversity to the level where they have a competitive advantage, because the global economy is really shrinking, and every little bit of an edge that we can get will help.
That's a great takeaway from this segment, I think. Awesome. So you have been into the sales, marketing, and talent acquisition, recruiting all your years. So how did you choose this profession being you for the rest of your life? How did you choose, and share about that with us?
Well, Preeti, quite frankly, I didn't choose it. It chose me.
Okay.
The career chose me. I never sought it out. As a matter of fact, being a salesperson and engaging with clients, I never thought that would be the career for me. I thought I would maybe go into the healthcare profession in some form, some way. And so it really found me. One thing led to another. I'm a people person. The consulting space really resonated with me, and impacting and helping guide companies and groups and leaders within those companies really made this path for me.
So you would have been like working with big companies to fill in their top management positions and major executives of that company. So how is it to recruit such executive people? Like, how could you share some experience? Like, if you would like to, yeah.
Yeah, definitely. So no two companies are alike, right? And
Yes.
we also do project work. And so we like to think that we can help companies from everything from their hourly workers all the way to the boardroom.
Mm-hmm.
And when these organizations are really looking for a specialized person or leader or an executive, we really try to dig in and understand not only the culture of the organization so we can have a good fit, but we also want to know the process. And what I
Yes.
mean by the process, different companies interview differently.
Okay.
Different companies look and listen for different things as well, right? Different companies have a different pace
Yes.
of attracting and interviewing and onboarding candidates and employees. So all those things you immerse yourself in how that works. It's really a symbiotic type of relationship because as you're doing it, things are ever evolving, and you need to get feedback from your client.
Yes.
You need to learn what's working, what's not working, what's really resonating, what's not resonating, all those things. And it really allows you to read between the lines of resumes as well, right? You want to have the candidates put their best foot forward. So sometimes when you do your resume, you're not always thinking about a particular company.
Yes.
So how do you read between the lines and identify somebody who may not have customized that resume to this particular organization, but you still know that they would be a great fit?
Correct. Yeah.
And I can tell you that some of my biggest successes have been with candidates that may not have identified or stated some of the biggest points of their background on their resume that would have that really got them the opportunity with the company, right? But based on the relationship with my contacts in the company and seeing what could be or what's missing, reading between the lines, I've been able to. I've had more than several opportunities to connect those dots and make things come to fruition in that sense.
You are truly a people's person. Like I can see that from you now, talking in just in 20 minutes. Yes. So you have so much on your plate. Like, I mean, you're a busy person with such a big career and holding a company and all of these things. But still you take your time for your passion to support nonprofit boards and community associations. So tell us, like, how did you meet Harold and how this acquisition with him and the Eyes Open International happened?
Yeah, it was pretty. It's a pretty fortuitous encounter, right? Because just watching my parents and going to church and all those around me, I've seen some pretty wonderful people do wonderful things, contribute to society, donate their time, etc., for all types of organizations and I just try to follow those great examples that I grew up with. And I had the opportunity to join an organization called the U.S. Global Leadership Council.
Okay.
And I am an advisory member for the state of Ohio. It is a nonpartisan, nonprofit lobbying group in Washington, D.C. And they lobby for great things. So everything to abolish poverty, hunger, to global economic success, and everything in between. Lots of great things. And during my time there, earlier this year, we were with Senator or Congressman Brad Wenstrup and having his audience. And in that audience as well with me was Mr. Harold D'Souza. And so from there we chatted and shared our desires with Congressman Wenstrup, and Harold and I clicked right away.
Okay.
Yes. And then after sharing our stories, we decided to meet with each other, and the rest is really history. Come to find out, we don't live far away from each other.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. And shared a little bit about myself. And, you know, we all have seen in the past couple decades what has happened in Haiti. And even recently, the news that's come from Haiti, right, in the past week with the assassination, unfortunately.
Yes.
So we had a lot of things in common, and here I am. One thing led to another, and happy to be on board.
Awesome. Like I said earlier, like you are a people's person, and I see that like you learn the person so much that you start fixing the solution rather than blaming like what has happened. So what is your point of view on this concept, like fixing the blame and right now, I mean, fixing the problem and not the blame. So what do you want to share for that?
Yeah, well, I have to tell you, I so admire Harold, not only for bringing us all together, but the first part of fixing it is bringing awareness.
Exactly.
Pretty, it is amazing. Even more so now, you don't imagine, and you can't imagine that these things, human trafficking, are going on right in front of you. As a matter of fact, it's right under your nose many times, right? And for those of us who think, oh, it's a big city problem, or it's happening somewhere else, that's not true. It's happening in Cincinnati, Ohio. It's happening in small town USA, wherever there are people, there's an opportunity for it to happen. So identifying the problem, and the first step to that solution is awareness. And I feel very strongly, once we get everybody on board to realize that this is happening next door, or at their favorite restaurant, or where they may travel, do business, etc. I think we can really get some momentum here.
Okay. So since we brought this human trafficking topic now into our discussion, like I would like to know, like we are saying human trafficking is always associated with all the other crimes that are happening right now in the world, like be it a terrorism act or be it any kind of smuggling activities. This human trafficking is a core part of those crimes. So would you like to share something about that?
Yeah, thank you. And that's so true. We often forget too that this is a cornerstone of organized crime, right? Human trafficking is more valuable to organized crime. And when I mention organized crime, I'm not talking about necessarily the movies and what we envision as, I mean, it's global organized crime on every level. Human trafficking is even more profitable than drugs, or what we deem as what organized crime can be. And I shared with you earlier in one of our previous discussions, there's a study, an article written by Elsie Gonzalez that describes this very well. I invite those listening and watching to look it up. But yeah, it shows the nexus between organized crime, terrorism, and how human trafficking really helps finance all of that globally. And so, yeah, we really, I think when we start to understand better how to connect the dots, that once we allow this, that we're actually helping finance and strengthen these organizations that are really undermining our communities, then I think we have an opportunity there to really help on many different levels, make an impact.
Yes, that's true. Okay. With all this pandemic going through from last year, and I hope like it still continues in few places, still it is prevalent, how it has affected the recruitment process, or like to work remotely and to find people remotely, like searching for them and to make them team inclusive, like how this is being like working right now?
Yeah. So I'll tell you, this has really helped my industry. It has helped my company. I'm looking forward to the future post-pandemic as well, because Preeti, here in the United States, we have had what they call a brain drain for quite some time.
Mm-hmm.
And if for your listeners who don't know what a brain drain is,
even for me,
there are skilled positions that are going unfilled because those individuals or those that would have grown up and been educated to fill those skilled positions, are not choosing those fields, or they're leaving and going other places. So really, for years, the United States has had more jobs than people. There have been, for years. And immigration was a great way to help support and allow the economy to grow, right? So we hear all these things, and I don't want to get political, but immigration served the purpose as far as the workforce was involved. And since the pandemic, it's brought awareness to the shortages that this country has, where all these jobs, whether it's skilled labor, such as plumbing, electricians, to IT jobs, to skilled executive roles, it's really brought awareness to these companies because they're all competing with each other, and they need companies like mine to help them match and identify individuals that can help them. And usually these roles that are open are essential roles that are needed to allow them to continue to grow, not only in size but in revenue as well. So it's really opened up the door for more conversations, and I'm looking forward to what the future holds for us.
Oh, okay. That's nice to hear, actually. Like, it's a positive note out of this pandemic you're talking something.
I think awareness is the first step to solving anything, right? So bringing that awareness. So now once now you can set up a plan, design a plan to go after and solve the problem.
So all people out there, gear up yourself. There are like so many openings out there, so just grab yours. That's what I want to tell to the audience.
And I'll tell you, I'm pretty confident at least today that with the way the economy is, and that it looks like it's going to be for some time, that anybody who wants a job is going to be able to find a job.
Find it one.
Okay. Yeah, and with the pandemic allowing for more flexibility, primarily with remote working opportunities. Yeah, I think the candidates are in a very positive position that's going to allow for a lot more flexibility.
Glad to know that. Yes. So Ivan, like your company Hamilton Demo, and you being yourself, like you're doing a great job at these CSR activities like nonprofit board support and all those stuff. So you have been doing a lot for Our Daily Bread organization. Yeah. So would you like to bring up that organization and the deeds you're doing there so that people knew about that?
Yeah, thanks. Yeah, I've been pretty active in the nonprofit community in Cincinnati, Ohio, all of the tri-state for quite some time. And I was invited to sit on the board of Our Daily Bread. And the Our Daily Bread in Cincinnati is the largest soup kitchen in the region. And it also allows for community activities, and they provide some services as well. So as you can imagine, when they open their doors and provide meals to those in need, there are a lot of opportunities to identify those that need additional services, and so they provide services there as well. And it's a pretty cool environment. Everything from kids having birthday parties there, and those that need to connect with others in the community. So it's really a cornerstone of that community there in Cincinnati. It's called Over the Rhine, which is a really great place, right in the Findlay Market area. So it's been a pleasure. And during the pandemic, they really stepped up, not only with donors and supporters providing additional foods, but the need increased tenfold. And rather than trying to constrain the need or what they could do, they expanded, and they did it. They did it using less too, right? So they didn't grow their workforce by a tremendous amount. They just all put their heads down and did more, which I'm very proud of. Obviously, with pandemic too, there wasn't a lot of volunteering. So those that work there really stepped up, and I'm really proud to be part of that organization.
Awesome. So you're having like different regional, different places where you show your interest, and now you've landed on EOI. So tell me about your role as advisory board member for Eyes Open International.
Yeah, I wish Harold was here so he could.
Yes, I wish too.
Yeah. So I will tell you, it's been a pleasure and an honor working with him. I think what the biggest impact I've been able to provide Harold, his team, and EOI is sharing the story, bringing more awareness, and connecting him with additional resources. Yes. As you know, as nonprofits, a lot of times people don't realize it. It's almost like running a business, and the larger you get, the bigger the word gets, and the further the reach, the more you have to start running like a business. Little things from making sure that you're transparent with all your constituents, being able to market yourself and be open to those that may have interest but don't know it yet, right? Exactly. How do you attract the development part of that? Technology, right? Yeah. Now that you have all that, how do you make sure that you are stable, have a stable technology platform so you can take donations not only from the United States or India, but everywhere in between, right? Different things. So I take a lot of joy in knowing that when my friend Harold calls upon me, I have a network where I can connect him with individuals who can help. And so far, so good. It's been a mutual beneficial relationship. And in doing that, bringing those resources to EOI, and I feel like I'm doing something good.
You're doing a great job. That's what like Harold told me when I discussed with him. He was like, he was saying that like, I know people, but I don't know like how to get to them and get the resources for my own organization. So he was telling that you have been a great backbone to him for on those points. And when it comes to technology itself, like your team, they have provided a lot of support to him. That's what he mentioned, like when I talked with him about that.
Right. So yeah, Preeti, I'll let you in on a little secret. I guess it won't be a secret after this, but I don't know a lot of things, but I know a lot of people who know a lot of things. Right?
Yeah. I get it. Yes.
So usually, if I don't know, which is more often than not, but I know people who I can ask, and especially for a great cause. I see Harold's family. It puts a smile on my face when I see his wife and his sons. My family, I love my wife and my kids, and if we can just do little things to improve the life of others, that's all we can ask. That's all that we ask.
Yeah. So like, I always think that like family is where like we go in search of getting inspired. But at the same time, family is a place like where we go when we fall occasionally. So family has been there for all of us as a backbone, and they are there like where they inspire us and make us reach greater heights. So share us about your family with us.
Oh, well, I'll even add to that. Family is where you go to rejuvenate and recharge yourself, right? Like I told you, I'm in New York on a little business, but visiting family as well. We're going to have a cookout. I'm going to see family that I haven't seen in 2 years, this pandemic, and it's really rejuvenating. It's better than a cup of coffee, right?
Oh, yeah.
And I'm smiling just thinking about being with everybody, going to church, etc. Also, family has a great way of keeping you humble, right?
True.
You come home and you tell them like you did something great, and they say, "Oh, that's wonderful. Dad, can you make dinner?" Right? That's what we want. We want tortellini and pizza, Dad. So that really puts perspective as well, right? It's great to share the good things that you do, and you're supposed to do good things. You're supposed to serve others. You're supposed to be a strong community member. And I see that in my kids when we walk together and we go, they ask me questions that gives me a sense of pride that I know that they're watching, and we're doing the right things. They engage others. So, and my wife is a social worker. She works at Cincinnati Children's Hospital, which is one of the leading organizations that provides healthcare to children, not just in Cincinnati, but all over the world. They come from everywhere, and you should see what they do to make sure that service that they provide, it's not just when they meet the doctor, it's bringing the family here, bringing the support, whoever needs the care, they have that in a way that they are open and receptive to whatever care they need. And that is what, no matter what culture you come from, they make sure that you're comfortable. If one thing isn't part of your culture, they make sure that they adjust to it so you're comfortable, and so you're an active participant in your care. If something else isn't quite right, or you need that, they make sure you need it. I mean, it's amazing what they do. So I feel very lucky. I've got a lot of positive influences, and I consider a lot of friends as part of my family as well. And all I need to do is just open my eyes and look at what they're doing, and that gives me a lot of motivation.
That's awesome. Yes, families, like even for us here, it is like friends are like our family here, and we go to them for any need, and they come to us, and it's been a great journey here with friends and family together.
Yes.
So Ivan, I would like to ask you to talk something about human trafficking and labor trafficking. Like, what is your view on all these points?
Yeah, so I alluded to some of it before. After meeting with Harold, being in the state of Ohio, I did not realize how prominent it was in the state of Ohio. Yeah. So if it can happen in Ohio, it can happen anywhere. And that really, eyes open, is such a profound statement. And I asked myself, where have I been this whole time? Family of immigrants. We've been lucky to come here, and my entire family is thriving and has thrived for the entire time we've been here. But how about those that we've encountered in the past? I mean, what has their story been? What has their path been like? What have their family members and friends' paths been like? What are our friends? I mean, how deep does this go? Right. And I started to realize as well, not only is it those that are directly impacted, how about those people who are unwilling participants, in the sense that maybe they're an accountant, or maybe they think they're doing good by providing shelter in a home, but there's all these unwilling participants, unknowing participants. That's right. And in speaking with Harold, when you start to peel the layers, and you realize how often it's out in the open, because people really aren't. It's not like you wake up and get in your car to look for these things, because again, you don't realize. You don't want to believe that it's going on in your backyard. So those are the things that I've really come to learn. Still learning, and it's a multi-level thing. It's not just certain people. Others are being impacted by this unwillingly, unknowingly, and it's up to us to make sure that we educate and bring that awareness.
Oh yeah. So what do you think like we should do when we see such victims, like initial steps, like what we can do or what you will do like in such case, like when you see a victim right in front of you?
Well, I don't have a problem. I'm going to call the police, or
Okay.
I'm going to call the hotline if I need more guidance.
Mhm.
But if I'm with my wife or kids, I mean they'll probably uh, attack whoever the perpetrators are, embrace
Yes.
the
Yes.
victims. So I'll tell you, I don't have any apprehension because I
Mhm.
think better better to act and be wrong than not to
Mhm.
act and leave someone in that situation. So
Okay.
that I don't have any problem personally. I hope others don't. Again, there's a hotline. I know we've shared that in the past,
Yes.
and everybody's got a phone too. So if
True.
you look up the hotline, and I was actually pleasantly surprised, even for those that are reluctant to maybe, you know, get involved, you're
Mhm.
able to get involved in a way where they will your inquiry will set things in motion that they'll
Yes.
investigate, and it won't come back to you as well. So for those that may have the mindset that they don't want to get involved, or they're not sure, uh, pick up your phone, look. There are ways to make those inquiries and share information that will set your mind at ease that you won't be involved or
Mhm.
have any negative repercussions.
But sometimes like we try not to do that because like thinking about the consequences what that victim is going to go through, like either they're going to be like it may be from the perpetrator or like from the law, like what kind of consequences they are going to face, thinking that sometimes people do not do make that call. So do you think like they should do it, right? Like
Yes, 100%. I mean, and that's really, I think that's a misconception, right?
hmm, hmm,
That if you call, the person in some way is going to be worse off,
trouble. Hmm.
right? And I was chatting with someone just yesterday and telling them that I was going to be on your show, and he shared a story of one of his friends that he was a victim of human trafficking from
Okay.
Mexico. At 13
Hmm.
years old, his family had an accident where he was orphaned. His parents had passed away,
Okay.
and from there he went to the orphanage. And again, this is an abbreviated story,
Hmm.
but the short of it is that this kid, 13 years old, was trafficked to the United States and
Okay.
was living in horrendous conditions. And he was able to free himself and run away. And over time, he is now a very prominent and well off and wealthy contributor to the country. So if not for those stepping in and helping him after he was able to run
Yes.
away, find those and go back to those that the perpetrators, and then allowing him to take advantage of the country's education system and all the
Hmm.
great things that the American dream has to offer. This person is doing great things for America right now as a citizen and a contributor. So yeah, definitely, I think it's all of our responsibility to act. And and again, whatever that act is, so you're comfortable, you don't have to have any apprehension if you fear retribution or anything.
Awesome. That's what I want to hear from you, so that like people listen like when real stories are shared. So that's why like I wanted to put up
Yeah,
there.
and we know there's more stories, right? There are a lot of
Yeah.
stories, but they're not enough. We need to hear more, right?
Yes,
Because
that's
it's still
correct. Yeah.
going on. So, uh, yeah, we'll do it together.
Yes. So on the advisory board of Eyes Open International, we have like other two members. Like last week, we interviewed Mr. Deepak Acharya from India. So did you guys like talk, and you have any things to share about him or the other member of?
Yeah, actually, unfortunately, Preeti, we have not had an opportunity to chat yet. Our schedules are conflicting.
Yes.
And as you know, the time zone.
The time zone difference is always there. Yeah.
Yeah, it can make things quite difficult. But we have plans to connect. And Harold communicates as an intermediary as well. So that's always great, right? But I'm looking forward to meeting him in person. You never know, maybe I can go there soon, or he can come there, and we can get it done.
Awesome. So as a successful person in this industry of talent acquisition recruiting, I would like to like share your success mantra, or like I would like to put up like what motivated you and what keeps motivating you to do this job daily until today, and you'll be like doing it further. So what is your motivation?
Well, again, we talked about I'm a people person, so I enjoy what I'm doing, right? Yeah, is it always a great experience? Not necessarily. You have your ups and downs. But Preeti, when you are able to connect someone with their dream job, and they call you and they thank you, and they share their dreams with you, there's no greater feeling, right? Also, when companies are able to find someone that is such a great fit that exceeds their expectations, when they're able to find someone, and we're Hamilton Demo is part of that, and those people come on board and contribute to a level that it takes the company immediately to another level, both financially and marketing wise. Those are great stories. I mean, it really, really gives you a lot of energy. Gives me a lot of energy, and those things happen quite often. I wouldn't say every day, but it happens every couple of weeks where there's great big stories of that goes on that we're involved with. So it really gives us a mission to serve our clients, and when they entrust us in that, we want to make sure that we deliver for them.
So you're making others' dream come true, and by that, I think you get a satisfaction from that job, and that keeps you moving, I suppose.
Yeah, I don't want to oversimplify, but yeah, this is our place in how the world economy and how our community functions, right? So if we can bring these opportunities to people, because people aren't usually very, very sophisticated in searching for opportunities, right? We don't go to school to learn how to find opportunities, right? So there's a gap there, and even with the best of intentions with companies, they are trying to find these individuals while concentrating on growing their business. They're concentrating on different compliance and everything else, right? So I take pride in knowing that we fill the gap there in connecting these opportunities with the companies and individuals.
Okay. So now you being associated with Eyes Open International, like, do you also like work for these victims when they in need of a job, or like other things in which they are in need of?
Yeah, not at this point, but that is definitely something that we've chatted about and we've talked. So we're ready for it.
That's great to know. Yeah.
Yeah. And I'll also invite, if there are any other organizations or individuals that are watching and they would like my help and guidance, I'd be more than happy to have Hamilton Demo assist them. And I know we're going to share that information later. But yeah, anyone, any organizations, profit, for-profit, not-profit, whatever, I'm more than happy to assist.
Glad to know that. So for our audience, like I would like to mention a point here, like people are doing so much to this world right now. And if you want to be a part of this cause and support this cause, please do visit Eyes Open International website and please make as much donations as you can. Even a small donation would help and make a better change for someone out there. So go and visit Eyes Open International website for that.
Yeah.
And Ivan, like, that's been a nice talk with you, and I'm so happy that I could bring your real side to the people, and people want to know more about the person, more than like just they read about them. More than that, they would like to know what you are. And as I said earlier, you are like humble person, you are the down-to-earth person, and it's always fun to talk to you. Like, I think people would have known that now, by the way.
Yeah. Well, it's a pleasure. I'll also add to what you said earlier, for those that are interested in learning more about Eyes Open International and going out to the website to contribute whatever you're able to, please share with others too, right? Just don't keep it to yourself. Go and tell them about what you've read, what you've learned, what you've heard here today on our conversations. The more people we touch, the quicker we can accelerate and bring this awareness on a level where we can abolish this human trafficking sooner than later.
Yes. Awareness, you're always on dot with that topic, and thanks for adding the points.
Yes, my pleasure.
I hope you had a nice time talking with me too.
I had a great time. Can't you tell? What's there not to like, Priti?
Yeah, thank you so much. So I think we are like at the end of our discussion, and I thank Mr. Harold. Like, he's not here today with us, but he had made this series to come live, and I hope like we're going to have multiple persons on this topic discussing here with us for Eyes Open International. And thanks for this opportunity, and thanks, Ivan, for being here with us and giving us insightful thoughts and more about you. Thank you so much.
Yes, anytime, Priti. You got my number. Anytime I can be of help.
Thank you so much, and have a great day forward and nice weekend.
Yeah, take care.